impossible, I wonder that you took the trouble of journeying so far. What could your ladyship propose by it?
At once, to insist upon such a report, being universally contradicted.
Your coming to Longbourn is rather a confirmation, is it not, if such a report exists?
Do you pretend to be ignorant of it?
I've never heard it.
And can you likewise declare there is no foundation for it?
I cannot pretend to possess equal frankness with your ladyship. You may ask questions which I shall choose not to answer.
This is not to be borne. Miss Bennet, I insist upon being satisfied. Has my nephew made you an offer of marriage?
Your ladyship has declared it to be impossible.
It ought to be so. But your arts and allurements may have, in a moment of base infatuation, made him forget himself. You may have drawn him in.
If I have, I should be the last person to confess it.
This obstinate, headstrong girl, I'm ashamed of you. Is Mr. Darcy's future to be threatened by marriage to a young woman of inferior birth? If you are sensible of your own good, you do not wish to quit the sphere in which you have been brought up.
Lady Catherine, in marrying your nephew, I should not consider myself as quitting that sphere. He is a gentleman, I am a gentleman's daughter. So far we are equal. If I am Mr. Darcy's choice, why should I not accept him?
True, but who is your mother? Who are your uncles and aunts? Do you imagine me to be ignorant of their station?
If Mr. Darcy has no objections, they can be nothing to you.
Tell me once and for all, are you engaged to him?
I am not.
And will you promise me never to enter into such an engagement?
I will make no promise.
Miss Bennet, Lady Catherine!
When I was your guest at Rosings Park, Mr. Darcy came to Hunsford Parsonage, and he did offer me his hand.
Then it is as I suspected. You have
I refused him.
You refused him? A Hertfordshire girl, refusing the chance to be mistress of Pemberley? Impossible.
I cared not for Pemberley, nor Derbyshire, or all the riches I knew he could offer. I cared only for my own happiness, and I was convinced, your ladyship, he could not make me happy. You see, your nephew slighted me at an assembly once, and I'm afraid I never forgave him for that. In my wounded vanity, I chose to believe the very worst about him. I allowed myself to be entirely misled in my estimation of his character. And when every day there was evidence of his growing affection and regard for me, I chose to see only arrogance and conceit. I treated him with mockery and contempt, gave him no encouragement, and yet still he came to Hunsford and spoke of love. It has been many months since I have come to realize how very wrong I have been. To bear witness to his goodness and kindness, his unfathomable generosity, his loyalty and devotion for his friends, his sister, I do not believe I've ever known a better man, and I'm quite certain I can never love any other. So I cannot promise what you ask, your ladyship. I can only promise that if I were still so fortunate as to be loved by Mr. Darcy, there is not a soul in the world who could induce me to refuse him now, least of all you.
And this is your final resolve. You will marry him for love?
I would.
Very well. My nephew shall know how to act. I like the Darcy. Do try and get it right this time.
Mr. Darcy! Oh, Mr. Darcy, I am a very selfish creature. You must allow me to thank you for your unexampled kindness to my poor sister. Oh, please allow me to express gratitude for my entire family, since they do not know to whom they are indebted. You must not be cross with Lydia for telling me. I am glad that she did. But you certainly did for Bingley and James.
If
Now, why?
Let it be for yourself alone. Your family owes me nothing. I thought only of you.
Mr. Darcy,
Elizabeth, can you ever forgive me?
forgive you.
My behaviour towards you at Hunsford was deplorable. I cannot think of it without abhorrence.
Oh, please do not remember what I said then.
Elizabeth, I should perhaps speak with your father.
He's in the parlour.
Lizzie, where has Lady Catherine gone? And what does that old man want here?
Mamma.
And why has he gone? And why
I was to speak with father, Mamma.
speak with your father? What can that proud, disagreeable man want with your father? I'll not have him
Mamma, he goes to ask permission to marry me.
Darcy, come here. I suppose any friend of Bingley's is welcome, but I must say I hate the sight of him.
Mamma, I am engaged to Mr. Darcy.
always hated him.
Of course not.
Very well. I will give him my consent. He is the sort of man indeed to whom I should never dare refuse anything. But I advise you to think better of it, Lizzie. I know that you could not be happy unless you truly esteemed your husband. He is rich, to be sure, but let me not have the grief of seeing you unable to respect your partner in life. Can you really love him?
I can, Pa. I do. I cannot fix the hour, or the spot, or the look of the words which laid the foundation for it. I was in the middle before I knew it had begun.
Well, my dear, if this be the case, he deserves you. I could never have parted with you, my Lizzie, to anyone less worthy. Oh, I say, if any young men come for Mary or Kitty, please send them in. Quite at my leisure.